This is KUGAN CASSIUS for IFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast. We're in the Matchroom bubble here, ahead of this Saturday night's pay-per-view show, featuring Natasha Jonas' fight with Katie Taylor. I'm with Natasha Jonas. How are you, Natasha?
I'm good, thank you. Loving the new Everlast mic.
I know.
Everlast, sponsored by me. Or sponsors me, I should say.
We'll talk about Everlast in a little while. But, yeah, how have you found the bubble? How have you found isolation? That 24 hours is not a nice thing for anyone.
Yeah, I felt like a caged animal yesterday. I felt like I was back in that series that I did Clink when I was in prison. And now, yeah, when you get that thing, you just a relief that you just got that little band to say, you know, you're past. I'm out. I messaged Joe this morning saying, free at last, God almighty, I'm free at last.
It's mad, isn't it? And I know people kind of go, oh, it's like a prison. I'm sure it's really not like a prison, but I think just being confined in your room in general is, yeah, especially for you. I mean, guys like us, you know, we're not fighting this week, but for you to be contained in the room, it's different. Yeah,
it's just that obviously it's the day off training. It's just boring. Once you're in your room, basically you're in bed because there's nothing else to do in your room but sit in the bed and watch the telly. And yeah, that's it.
Let's talk about this Saturday night. It was this little thing, yeah. A lot of people's opinion that this will be the best fight on the card, which, I mean, is subjective, but I have to agree. I think this will be the best fight on the card. When you both turned professional, we kind of knew that at some point this would happen. It didn't happen probably as soon as maybe we thought, or you thought, or Katie thought, but everything's about timing, and this will be your time to kind of prove what you can do against Katie Taylor this Saturday.
Yeah, you just took me line by saying everything's about time, and I think now is the perfect time. I've had to pick myself up from the bottom of the low. You know, I've had to financially worry, struggle with the baby and everything else, and it came out for me on the Harper camp. I thought I'm going to come out of this lockdown better. Something's about me is going to be better, and I went away and worked on myself mentally, and you know, read every book, watched everything, every motivational thing that I could, and I think it proved in Harper that it worked. And now I'm not starting from that down the mountain baseline. I'm starting at the top of the hill again and just progressing onwards and going further and further up the mountain. I'm physically, mentally, spiritually better in the best position I've ever been. My stats say so, my weight says so, my times say so, and you know, mentally I say so.
I know last summer, obviously we spoke after your fight and you were kind of very disappointed in kind of how that played out, but it was such a great fight, and I know people keep reminding the pair of you what a great fight it was, but from that point to this point, obviously, in the words of George Groves, everything happens for a reason, and that fight was obviously led to the point you were at before Saturday.
Yeah, I'm in no worse off position from taking this fight. It was made very clear I was never getting the Harper rematch anytime soon, even though it was promised. It was always going to be 3-4 fights down the line. And I kicked up a fuss, I screamed, I spat my dummy out, and I got my opportunity. So it's worked out. Instead of fighting for 2 belts, I'm now fighting for 4 in arguably the biggest female matchup to date in pro boxing. And I've got nothing to lose. I've got everything to gain and nothing to lose. So.
We've seen that picture circulating when you were doing the commentary for Sky, and it's such a great picture, and it was all, you know, very tongue-in-cheek, etc. But come Saturday night, realistically, those belts could not just be there, but they could be all wrapped around your waist.
There. Yeah, we've all seen what happens when you touch the belt.
People will refer to 2012, but speaking to Katie yesterday, it was 9 years ago, was the amateur game. This is a different ball game now, isn't it? Yeah,
I mean, come on, it was 9 years ago. We are 2 different fighters. We're 9 years mature, I'll say. Boxing IQ's changed. The game's the same, but the sport is different. You know, it's not 4 rounds, it's not point scoring, and all them, I think, benefit me. I get better as the rounds go on. I'm a bigger puncher, I believe. And I get better as the rounds go on as well. So 10 rounds for me is better.
Does it benefit you to have this fight at this stage of your career rather than maybe a couple of years ago?
I think now, like you said earlier, time is of the essence, and it's a perfect time now. I think there's been fights before me that she's had that have been a lot tougher, and shown that she's human. We have these auras about people that are unbeatable, like AJ, like Lomachenko, and then you get people like Ruiz and like Lopez who come along and do the job and beat these unbeatable people, and I believe I'm that person for Katie. So
Saturday night should be very interesting, but for yourself, obviously linked up with Everlast now. You're like, are you the poster girl for Everlast, or is it one of the other girls?
I wouldn't say the poster girl. They've come and done a photo shoot, but I don't think I'm the poster girl. But you know, there's lots of things that we've got planned. Like I say, I spat my dummy out and moaned about fair pay and about big companies getting behind us for their media and brand power, and about other initiatives that we have going to make it fairer for women in sport, and Everlast listened. So, you know, I'm grateful that they're on board. I'm happy that they're not only supporting me, they're supporting 52 other boxers, but also the women in the sport. And you know, there's other initiatives that I'm going to be involved with Everlast that are coming soon, and so it's a big thing, and it's a big thing for me, and it's a big thing for that I'm supported by such a big company.
The pledge that they put into boxing, which they recently announced, the 52 boxer pledge, they've obviously signed probably maybe a dozen fighters already, but someone like Everlast, such an icon, probably the most iconic brand associated to boxing, to be putting that kind of commitment into the sport is very important, isn't it?
It is, and it also sets a standard for other brands to follow, and that's what we need. We need a bit of competition. We need to be seen and be visible, like I said.
Absolutely. How's this going to play out on Saturday? Give us a little inkling to how this is going to play out.
She'll bring the best version of her, I'll bring the best version of me, and the winner we'll see.
Okay, Natasha, appreciate your time speaking to IFL TV as always. Like I said, it's a stacked card here in Manchester. It's an interesting bubble as well. There's quite a dinner party, potential guests for a dinner party here. Yeah,
there's lots of different characters, personalities, and yeah, well, it's my first day being allowed out, so I've got to come and see. I'm going to play Joe at pool, beat Joe. He's the Gallagher champion at the minute. I think he's beat Marcus, Quigg and Crawler. So you know, I've got to set the tone and set the bar right, and get to winning ways before Saturday and beyond.
I've got to say, it's great to have Scott Quigg around here today as well. Obviously, spent many nights in this hotel around Scott Quigg's fight over the years, so it's good to see him in the bubble as well here.
Yeah, I think the lads have done an amazing job. You know, they've stepped away from competing, but they're still involved in the sport heavily. They've got their own stable of fighters, and you know, there's some great talent coming through, both male and female, because I can vouch for Tanya. Tanya's a very good puncher who's under Scott Quigg, and I can vouch for Rhiannon, who's under Crawler. So, you know, we've had plenty of spars between the three of us, and, you know, they've improved so much and still progressing, and they're paving their own path. So, yeah, big shout out to you.
Natasha, just the final one. We keep referring to this kind of, you know, look where women's boxing is now, etc. But we've been saying this for the last 3 years. It's about time we just kind of accepted that this is, especially in this country, the standard of women's boxing. We should stop referring it to kind of, oh, look at the place it's in, because this is just how it is with women's boxing now.
We always knew how good it was. We just needed the world to see it. And now they do. You know, Sky and Matchroom have done a very good job on promoting the females that they've got. And they've set the baseline for others to follow. But MMA has showed us that we've got a long way to go, and there is room for improvements, and yeah, well, hopefully we'll head there.
Okay, thank you very much for talking to IFL TV, and we wish you the best of luck on Saturday night.
Cheers, thank you.